I'm Garrett McKay. I had enrolled in this particular youth theology program thinking that I had already, for the most part, known who I was as a person. My main intent was to use this opportunity to gain knowledge on Christianity for the sake of having a better argument. Content. I was wanting to gain more content, so for one day when I wanted to argue why I think it's important to have religion in everyday life and why I think that it's okay for political figures to encourage a faith-based society and not be afraid to have a mention of religion in public arenas. I basically wanted to keep my own opinions and also have a here's why. I traveled to the Augsburg College having read some of the beforehand provided text, Why Christian, for those on the Edge of Faith by Douglas John Hall. I had gone to the theology program with a sense of comfort because unlike the subtitle suggested, I have never really questioned or had been on the edge of faith. This sense of comfort was brought on because for the most part, I feel I have been a pretty devout Christian all my life. This sense of comfort can be credited to my parents. Because of them, I feel like I know what faith is. I have learned as I've progressed through my years of age that, and sometimes it's hard to admit, they always know what is best for me. And I trust that because of their longevity, and that of their parents as well, that they have already done enough questioning of faith, so much that because of the way they brought me up, I don't have to question my own. One of the neatest aspects of this past week was the studying of other faiths. And not so much the learning part, but the hands-on experiencing of different faiths and religion in their own houses of worship. We as a group visited a Jewish synagogue one day, and then a Muslim mosque the next. It was extremely intriguing, I thought, at how welcoming they were to us, wanting to learn about their faiths. Each service was followed up by a presentation and explanation of how their religion works and what exactly they believe in. And as we were learning, I looked around at my fellow theologians and how interested we seemed, and then it dawned on me. Every single one of us, we were all self-proclaimed Christians, and it kind of made me conclude after the week that living in America and being a heavily dominated Christian society, it almost seems as if Christians are more likely to open up and learn about other faiths than other religions are to wanting to learn about Christianity. I think it's mainly because we, as Lutheran Christians, kind of live our lives about in such a way that is almost too liberal. We open up ourselves too much to have doubt in our faiths and want to search for alternative spiritualities that ultimately result in different thoughts of afterlife. And when I say that I think that our way of practice is too liberal, I mean that I don't think that our practicing of faith is structured enough. There's too much free-spirited thinking and not enough discipline. This form of habitude in our Christian society, I think, scares people away of other faiths and is probably a leading factor to why people around the world aren't so fond of the spreading of Christianity. Aside from learning about these other faiths, it was extremely enlightening to see God's work at hand. As Eric had mentioned before, it was part of this past week's itinerary to be involved in a service learning project. My particular small group traveled a couple blocks from the Augsburg campus to a Catholic church called the Holy Rosary. The church was close to 100 years old, and as the years had gone by, the church congregation grew to be 90% Hispanic, and they did on average 40 baptisms a month. The church seated close to 500 people. And like our own St. Thomas Church in town, there is a school that is connected to the church. It was our group's project to tour the school, and during the summer the school classes people with a full staff of volunteer teachers interested in learning the English language. The experience was very lifting for me when we sat in with a group of Somalians who didn't know a single bit of English, but they were so determined to learn because they wanted to be a part of the American culture. Enough so to step out of their comfort zones and learn English in a Christian institute. Another evening, part of the group walked from the campus through downtown Minneapolis to the reconstruction of the 35W bridge. The journey there and being in the presence of the project was extremely eye-opening. Living in a sheltered community as we do and not being particularly updated or near the site, I was blown away at just how far they are on reconstructing and finishing the bridge. In a way, I felt the new bridge to be somewhat symbolic to how some people view faith. Like faith compared to the bridge, because of one flaw over time, the bridge can collapse and be gone in a second with bits and pieces left behind. This too can be said about faith. With a sudden disbelief or with new logic, one's perspective or whole outlook on religion can be gone in a second. But there are always bits and pieces of you left behind who holds the same virtues. Like the bridge, over time, and with a great amount of perseverance and determination, you can rebuild that bridge, and you can bring back your sense of faith. And once the bridge is complete, it will never be finished, because like faith, It will continue to need hard work and maintenance to keep it strong. After this past week, and experiencing as much as we did, I still have no question of my own faith. I stand here today as a devout Christian who holds dearly to his own convictions. I still have many questions of other faiths, and not so many answers. But if I could walk away from this experience with any bit of solid stance, it would be with the gratitude of knowing that I'm not yet content. And as I may be comfortable with knowing that I am a Christian who doesn't question his faith, I will not be somebody who is content until I honestly feel that I have spread God's love and word in the most devotional way possible. Thank you.